Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Tika. With me, like always, is the man who is just ready for this year to get over, but is hoping that next year might be better. Noah Bailey.
Probably.
But, finger crossed, maybe.
Maybe, possibly. Who knows? I mean,
but yeah, this will be the last episode of the year. So go us, we made it. Woo.
woo!
Yeah. I will say, I think the Zoom format is a way better format than we did in the past. Glad we switched over to that. It's easier all around. So, obviously keep doing this going forward. And yeah, hopefully next year we'll be able to, talk about more cool stuff as well. But we still have a whole podcast to go now, in which we're going to be starting off with the fact that obviously Spider-Man No Way Home came out recently, and to the surprise of literally nobody, it's breaking every box office record known to man.
Did I think it was going to be amazing and make everything well? Did I think it was going to be amazing and break all these records? Probably. Did I think it was going to happen this quickly? Not really, because with the COVIDness, people have decided that Spider-Man is worth it, essentially.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Which, again, I would also be in that crowd. There. So,
I was a little apprehensive about predicting Spider-Man numbers because I wasn't sure, if people would want to get out there, during COVID times. Like other Marvel movies have been doing decently, but not like they would in normal years. Black Widow did 500 if you include streaming numbers. Shang-Chi did just over 400. Eternals did barely 400. Other movies are hitting like around there. So I think the James Bond movie was the only one to like really do like fantastic numbers. So I really wasn't sure how
to be honest, didn't really
how much better.
Yeah,
wasn't really sure how much Spider-Man would do. I had a feeling it would break 1 billion like at the end of its run. I did not expect it to break 1 billion in 10 days. Yep.
Is that the record?
No. Endgame did 2 billion in 10 days, I think.
Oh, it was 2? Like okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember it was like Endgame with 10. It was like 10 days. I was like, 10 days? That sounds good. But no, 2 billion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally, just kind of plateaued from there, but whatever.
Oh my gosh. 2 billion in okay, but Spider-Man, 1 billion in 10 days. Like you knew, because again, you knew this was Spider-Man. You knew they were bringing stuff back. All the speculation, which was, not really speculation, it was legit for the most part. So
yeah.
But,
and it's weird. Like I legitimately don't think actually having them in the trailers would have. I legitimately think it was the right call to keep that stuff secret. Like, not that it was a secret, but not actually like outright telling people.
It didn't confirm it. Yeah.
The posters would have been better, and it would have been fun to see all three of them on the red carpet at the premiere. But it just shows great restraint from Sony to actually keep stuff secret, because they're notorious for showing the entire movie in their trailers. And B, just having this idea that they might not show up, like that, the idea of that makes you like, if they don't show up, then I need to see it. But like, there's a chance that they might, and if they actually are, then I need to see it just to not be spoiled if they're not. So,
right. And also
just confirm.
And also too, I think it also helped making sure it was Tom's movie too. So I feel like if you had, in this, in the second trailer, they show up and it's like, oh my gosh, then it becomes their movie, not his movie, which I feel like A, wouldn't be fair to him, and B, wouldn't have gone the same way. I feel like the little, the like slight, oh no, they might not be in there, kind of added to it in a big way. So not that it wouldn't have been as successful if they had just been like, hey, guess who else is showing up? But like,
yeah, and yeah, because of that, you could argue deceptive marketing. It made 587 million opening weekend, 260 of that being domestic, which is the second highest domestic of all time, just barely beating Infinity War. It is now the first Sony movie to ever pass 500 million domestic, period.
Really?
Yes.
Dang.
Far From Home was the most profitable Sony movie up to this point until No Way Home. And No Way Home has already beaten the entire Far From Home run without China. And now it's not even in every territory. Yeah. There's some territories that haven't gotten to see the movie yet it's already beaten Far From Home.
Crushing records. And still going strong.
Yep. And it's currently sitting at 7:30 on December 30th. It is currently 1.18 billion.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good for a movie that came out not even 2 weeks ago.
Yep, it's already passed up stuff like Civil War, Captain Marvel, Dark Knight Rises. Like, it is going to get at least 1.5 bill, maybe 2 bill by the end of it.
I don't know about 2. I feel like there'd be more. Like, I know this is already a ridiculous bounce, but like, I feel like if it was 2, it'd be like already at like 0.4 or something. But I feel like definitely 1.5.
Well, it really just kind of comes down to how China reacts to it. Like, because domestic usually is like double. Sorry, international is generally about double what domestic is. And if we're currently sitting at almost 600 million domestic now,
2 billion.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's true. I mean,
depends on how things are in China.
I mean, China does love Spider-Man, so
yeah, everyone.
Okay, maybe it could. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Do we know when it reaches China?
I think it comes out in both China and Australia, January 9th. Don't quote me on that date. It was somewhere like early January.
Oh man, that must stink. But like, I thought Europe having it 2 days early was bad. Imagine you being like a month behind.
And there are people from Australia specifically who are like, maybe not Australia. There's some other country who like is getting it early January. We're like, if any like spoilers or whatever are posted online in places where like it makes sense for spoiler discussions to be happening, yet they insert themselves into these discussions and be like, come on, man, some of us haven't gotten a chance to see the movie yet. Why you got to spoil it for us? It's like, I'm sorry you haven't gotten to see the movie yet, but like we said earlier, it's not really a spoiler to say that the other Spider-Man are in the movie. Also, you could get in a boat and come to America and watch it here if you want to see that badly.
Can they even do that? Are COVID going on?
No, you should absolutely should not.
I was like, that's not a smart choice. Just come on over.
Wait, really? That bad?
No, but I mean,
no, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. No, it's just very funny being online and seeing, the movie's been out for almost 2 weeks, still seeing people being like, I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. Why are you posting spoilers? When like, spoilers are generally always tagged as spoilers on Twitter. And I see it most often in like those kind of posts most often in threads of like, below are going to be some Spider-Man spoilers. And it's like a big like discussion of people talking about the movie. And then they're like, why are you going to spoil it for me? When it was explicitly said, this is for spoiler talk. I just find that funny.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it's like you kind of walk into spoilers. Now, sometimes they're just out there. Like, I don't remember what it was for, but you just open YouTube and the first thing you see is oh, and I'm like, oh my God. So like,
I had the fact that Luke Skywalker was in the end with the Mandalorian. Spoilers, I haven't seen Mandalorian season 2. Was I had a spoiled that he was going to show up at the end of that on like in the comments of a random ad on Facebook. You know how like you're scrolling Facebook and like the like 3 comments are displayed or something. Like randomly, it's like, oh, by the way, Luke Skywalker is a Mandalorian. It's like, wasn't expecting to see that here.
Why would that even be there? No, that's so.
Not that it matters. Like he was like only one of 3 choices.
But still.
But yeah.
Especially how it happened, because it came out of virtually nowhere. So like, I feel like that was a big one.
Yeah, like essentially, I tried to forget it happened. I tried to like while the show was happening, block it out of my memory. But as soon as I saw that X-wing show up, I was like, oh, that's Red 5. Like I know what's happening now. It was so cool to watch, but it would have been so much better if like I didn't have the preconceived notion of like that ship has Luke on it. You know?
No, I remember seeing it and I was like, it's just an X-wing. I was like, oh, it's just an X-wing. It's like, it was like, oh my God, no. But I mean, yeah, spoilers stink because like it's so weird having that magic moment like in the theater or watching it for the first time and just like, oh my God, it happened. It's so big. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because it only happens so few times where like something happens that's like, a big reveal or, oh, this is crazy or, oh, a big twist or something. So it kind of, you forget about it. But it's like ever since, I think it was The Last Jedi. I don't remember which one it was. I got spoiled for something. And ever since then, I have what I call spoiler protocol, which is like literally the week before the movie comes out, everything. Like no YouTube, Reddit, social media, any like nothing. Like all I can do is like go on Netflix and that's it. But
there are no comments on Netflix. You're safe.
Right. But it's like it makes life boring for a week, but it's like I can't I basically live under a rock until that comes out. But
right.
And but yeah,
like,
I mean
that's just kind of the problem that like sorry.
You guys No, it's okay. No, I forgot the other thing I got the Sora thing spoiled for me too. I forgot about that. I remember being so mad about that because I was like, you know how you open a new tab on like Microsoft Edge and there's just like news comes up.
Yep.
And then I saw the Smash logo and it was like Sora comes to fight, and I was like, what? No! And I was like, I remember seeing that and I wasn't even expecting it. I was just trying to go to a different web and I was just like, oh, no, this can't be real. Looks it up. Dang it! So then I had to watch the trailer.
But I wanted to,
I mean, it was still happening, but I mean, it was still awesome. But it was just like if I had seen it without the reveal, it would have been better. But it's okay because it's still cool and Sora's fun. So.
Yeah, that's just kind of a problem with the way castings are announced these days. Like, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were announced to be cast in this movie all the way back last November, I think. Yet they still had to like try to keep it secret they were in the movie when it was public knowledge that they would be in the movie. I don't know. It's just
What's the thing? It's like, and especially when it's like, oh, you ask them point blank, hey, are you in the Spider-Man movie? No, man, no way. Or like, I can't confirm or deny. It's like, bro, anything other than just like, no. It's like, bro, you're in the movie.
Or Tom being like, it would be really cool if one day we could have all 3 together. It's like that. Okay.
It
will be cool when we see it in this movie.
Yeah, it would be so cool if on December 17th we just happen to see everything.
Yeah, like it's essentially if I lived in a country where I couldn't watch a movie day of, I think I would kind of become numb and wouldn't care about spoilers. But because I do have the opportunity to watch them pretty much as soon as it comes out, other than randomly London gets it 2 days early for some stupid reason.
Like, they have Tom Holland advantage. I don't know.
Sure, why not? For movies like this, even though there really wasn't like a lot to get spoiled on outside of Amy dying and then Peter, what happened at the very end with the new spell and Peter getting his new costume, that was really it overall. That wasn't like really heavily rumored beforehand, but it was very cool seeing that in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 1.18 billion people agreed with me.
Yeah.
1.8 billion dollars worth of people agreed.
There it is. Yeah, like it's just very exciting stuff, and like I just like it because like everyone I talked to about the movie's like, dude, that was the best movie. That was the best. I'm like, yes, it was.
Pretty good. It was pretty good.
It was so good. Well, my coworker's like, oh yeah, you seen that new Spider-Man movie? I was like, yes, I did. Like trying to be so calm about it. Mm-hmm. He's like, you heard it's pretty good. I'm like, I think it's worth checking out.
It was all right.
Trying not to like spaz, like, you haven't seen it yet, bro. What are you doing with your life? Go, quit your job, go to the movies, go. Like, no, but just have to calmly just be like, yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's worth the watch.
Yeah. Worth the watch. It's a glowing review if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah. Worth the watch. That's what I'm saying. Like anytime something's like huge, but I can't explain how huge it is without giving away it's huge. I have to be like, yeah, check. Because even with the Venom thing, you're like, oh, the after credit. I was like, yeah, you can check out the after credit scene. It's like, it's all right. And it's like,
which, by the way, I've rewatched that scene again, and I think the reason why Venom was able to travel into the MCU dimension is because there's one line right before they get the teleportation thing happens to them. Venom that says something to the extent of, the hive mind of all symbiote knowledge would make your brain look like a peanut or something like that, implying that at least all. I think even it said like multi-dimensional Venom hive minds would break your brain or something like that, implying that even though this Venom is, in the Sony Spider-Man villain universe, it still technically has a knowledge of the Venom. It has all the same knowledge that the Venom from the Raimi Spider-Man has. Wow. Therefore,
he knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man and teleports as such.
Which they literally had to write in this new canon of, oh yeah, symbiotes have a multi-dimensional hive mind, just so we can have this make sense.
Just for the 2-second Tom Hardy cameo for no reason.
I think I literally would have preferred if Venom could just do that. Venom could just hop dimensions. I think it would have preferred.
I feel like that would have been more fun. Granted, I feel like that would have been kind of like, hey, so like, why haven't we used that before? But also,
apparently that after credit scene was directed by John Watts, so he was just like trying to find a way to make it work.
Right.
Like, okay, Sony asked me to make this connect to the movie I'm making. Interdimensional hive mind, just so he knows who Peter is, because why not? Like, okay.
You know what? Sure, that sounds comic booky enough.
Yeah.
To its defense, it kind of does.
Yeah. The symbiotes have always been kind of vague in like what exactly they are and what they can do. So why not? Spider-Man wasn't the only major Marvel thing to come out of last week. The Hawkeye season finale happened last week. Now we're gonna talk about the show. What are your general thoughts of Hawkeye?
I like it. I like it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I like it. Like the
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I like the contrast between like to getting too old from this Barton versus young enthusiasm. Kate Bishop, like, yeah, let's go adventure. It very much reminds me like on my job when I first got there versus like me now. It's very much just like, all right, I'll do this. And like I remember when I first started as a little intern, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be exciting and get this report done. And now I'm like, okay, let me get this report done. Whatever. So and it's really cool because you see like how I think this movie does a great job of showing the kind of downsides of being a hero, because I feel like in a lot of the Marvel movies we kind of ignore that, because like you think, oh, Iron Man 3, huge consequences, but like not really. You know what I mean? And then like but like essentially, yeah, like in this it's like, okay, basically, wow, so like you're an Avenger, that's so cool, but like also you don't get to see your family really, and also people are always trying to kill you, and also other people you meet are also in danger, and also people don't like you automatically because they assume you did terrible things, and also you actually did do some bad things, so they and also people, I don't know, I mean, there were some things about it that were just really great. Like I like Yelena and Kate working together just works very well. It's a very peanut butter and jelly, like it goes together well kind of thing. Which I didn't think it would at first, but then I forgot how likable Yelena is.
Yes.
So very quickly I was just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great.
Yes. So my general thoughts about the show was that I wasn't really into it kind of at all until episode 5, which theoretically should be like, it's a bad show if I don't like most of it.
Right.
But like the very end of episode 4 and then episode 5 and 6 are very good. Like I went from kind of hating Kate Bishop and like not understanding her whole deal, her whole family's deal, not really liking her interactions with Clint, not really even loving Clint all that much, to in episode 5, just Kate and Yelena just talking, just that whole scene was fantastic. Clint having that little moment, essentially talking to Natasha. Obviously the stinger at the end with the Kingpin actually existing, which I find it hilarious that they brought Kingpin. It was a big deal that is the same Kingpin from the Daredevil show. And it didn't bother me at first how it was just like, you know who this is? That's where I was worried about the Kingpin, and it was just like a picture on the phone. I wasn't mad about that. I was like, oh, that could have been bigger, but like, spy thrillers like reveal information like that all the time. It's not a big deal. But then the very next episode starts with a dramatic, like booming orchestra as Kingpin. You see his cane, he walks in, and dramatically it like pans up, revealing him. You easily could have done a thing where it's like, that's what we're worried about. Show him walking in, pan up, the Kingpin, cut to black. And the next episode could start the same way.
Starts right there.
Like, yeah. It's like that scene was shot as if it was the big dramatic reveal of the villain. But it was the second time we saw him. It was just a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Not that it was bad. It was just, I don't know. I wasn't upset until they showed until the very next scene of the show was shot like how I felt that scene should have been in the first place. Anyway, but then episode 6 was also just a very, very strong finish to this show. And I think as long as the show ends very strongly, I think overall my feelings on a show can like go one way or the other. Because
can we pause for a second?
And we're back. Okay. So as I was saying, the ending of a show can make or break something. Like
yes,
Falcon Winter Soldier overall, I thought was pretty decent. Although the climax I didn't love, making me have overall kind of sour-ish feelings towards that show as a whole. Whereas this show, I thought it was like not the best until the end, and then the ending was really good. So overall, I have pretty positive feelings about it, which is not what I was expecting going into it. I was like, hopefully it's like maybe as good as Falcon Winter Soldier, we'll see. And then it ended up being, I liked it a lot more than Falcon Winter Soldier, I think.
Yeah. Like you said, the ending does do a lot. Because I think that's really what matters. Because like, yeah, like if you think, when I'm thinking about the show, I don't really remember a lot that happened until kind of late. All I remember is like Pizza Dog and like just a lot of, not Elena, Kate being very optimistic and Clinton be like, no. And then, yeah, at the end where, oh, the twist where the guy who's totally obviously a bad guy actually kind of isn't. And,
yeah,
like, which again was like, I still feel like he's a bad guy. Does that make sense?
There's something up with him. Yeah,
like
guarantee it.
Like he had, like, there's no, like, he was definitely like like, especially when you watch it earlier. Like, I know they're like trying to set the misdirect, but I'm like, okay, at that point, that's just taunting. Like, he's definitely knows something.
Yes. I do think there was a couple of like either missing bits or rewrites kind of later on that kind of mess with the flow a little bit. Like Echo's friend, like second command bodyguard person, I think the show just kind of forgot about him or like meant to give him a bigger role. So then when the climax happened, it's like he gets to do stuff now, and then he dies.
Like, yeah, like honestly, even with Echo, like all of that kind of felt kind of just pushed in there, because like at the beginning they were trying to build it up like, oh, this is Maya, she's deaf but she's awesome, she has this crazy backstory. And then as other characters got introduced, those characters got smaller and smaller until they basically didn't even really need to be there anymore.
Yes, and like I know she's getting her own show, which I think is cool. Like, yeah, especially since her bodyguard, second in command guy, I don't remember his name, since he didn't get to do much in the show, like I don't know, I feel like he could have been an interesting antagonist for her in her own show, or like I don't think the Kingpin's actually dead, but I feel like no chance. But if the Kingpin does come back in Echo, I feel like we would just kind of be retreading the same ground that was covered in this show. So having this this, this like her childhood friend, character who's by her side the entire show, turn antagonist in her own show could be pretty cool. But instead they just kind of rushed, like, I can't live in both worlds. We never had that discussion, but whatever, die now. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of, and again, it was trying to build this big emotional moment. It's like, I don't really know these characters enough to like care one way or the other.
Yeah, there also was a lot of other stuff happening. Like,
right, it's kind of like, hey, let's get back to the ice rink. Like,
these two characters we really like are fighting. Kate Bishop is fighting Kingpin. Like, I don't want it to cut back to these other two characters who were introduced 2 episodes ago and are fighting over something that wasn't really established in the show itself.
And also doesn't really matter for what we care here for anyway.
Yeah. Because like I get it that he was probably the one that informed the Ronin to go kill her dad. So I get why she's mad at him. That wasn't explicitly established in the show, was hinted at, but she never actually got confirmation as far as we know. And then there was no like conversation between them about it. There was no like I don't know. That could have been done a little better, but Kingpin was really cool. Like, just for her just laying arrows into him, just doing nothing, him just throwing her around like a rag doll. Like if he wanted to kill her, easily could have.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
He just wanted to leave.
I mean, the man ripped the door off of a car. So
yeah. I feel like her mom's character was also kind of, there was something missing with her because it was just kind of revealed last minute that she's the one that killed the uncle Armand. Yeah, we never actually saw her do it. We never
got anything with really.
Which we just know that happened, and then she got arrested. I don't know.
It does kind of add to the shock value because we're at the perspective. We have the same knowledge Kate does, but at the same time, it feels like a lot of the time we spent with kind of with the backdoor pilot thing with the Echo, whatever, could have been used to flesh that out more instead. And I feel like that would have had much more built up sinister to it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not upset with Echo being in the show. I especially since they wanted to get Kingpin in there, with having him be the one who told the mom, don't remember her name, the mom to kill Armand. That's, I think, since her and Kingpin have this connection, I don't mind her being around. But it really just kind of feel like she's only there to hype up her show, which was greenlit before Hawkeye came out, which is not usually how backdoor pilots happen. I know it's Marvel, so they plan things 12 years in advance. It just, I think she earned it, but we never got a chance for her to prove that she should carry her own show, as opposed to just she's in this for half the show, not as a main character, but as a pretty important character in Hawkeye, when we already are sharing the role title of Hawkeye already. It was a little messy, but overall I thought it worked fine enough. So yeah. All that to say, I still did really enjoy, especially the latter half of the show. Everything with Elena was fantastic. Like I said, Clint and Kate Bishop's interactions grew on me very well. Kate Bishop's character grew on me a lot. Yeah, overall I thought it was pretty good show in the end.
It wrapped up well too.
Yeah, and easily, Kate Bishop is gonna keep doing stuff in the future. It's not a thing where in the end Hawkeye finally was kind of hanging up the mantle and passing it on to you. He might still be around. Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll see what happens next. So because Hawkeye did finish, and that's the last of the Marvel stuff we're getting this year, I thought it would be fun, with no preparation, to try and just kind of off the cuff rank what we believe, rank all 9 Marvel projects that happened this year from 9th to 1st. So let me just briefly go over. This is in release order. The ones that happened this year: WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, What If, Eternals, Hawkeye, Spider-Man.
Well, I think I know what my number 1 is, but
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right, so first off, what's the bottom?
For me, it's a toss-up between Eternals and Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
None of these are bad. I don't think any of these are necessarily bad shows or bad movies.
But it's the worst out of what's available.
Yes.
On 3? Oh, no.
I'm still, because, okay, here's my reasoning for why I'm putting this last. And it might be a little antiquated, but because The Eternals is a movie, I think because it disappointed me as much as it did, it was as confusing as it was. I feel it would have been better as a show. It would have been, given more time to expand all these characters and stuff.
Extremely.
Yes, because it is a movie, and it therefore, even though all of the Marvel shows have movie level quality, there's still this prestige with being a theatrical release. I think Eternals is at the bottom for me.
Yeah, I agree. Because like you said, it felt like it was like half baked. Because like a lot of the characters, I still felt like I know nothing about. I don't really understand why kind of, what I mean? They kind of just threw a lot of exposition at us and kind of just expected us to hit the ground running with it. They didn't really, and I feel like with the show, you could have had time to explain this, how each character fits in. Some of the characters, they didn't even explain what their powers were. You just kind of had to figure it out. Like, I feel very like, or really most of them, they didn't really tell you anyone's character. Just some are easier to interpret than others. But it's kind of just annoying because it was like this movie had a lot of potential if it felt paced correctly. Because it's not like a short movie. It was like 2 hours and something.
2.5 hours, yeah.
Yeah, like it was a long movie, but it felt like an hour and a half of that movie was kind of just going around doing stuff. It wasn't actually adding to the story really, which is not how you're supposed to do a movie like this. Like you have a lot you need to get through in 2.5 hours, and you're kind of wasting more than half of your time. It's like I feel
whereas Spider-Man No Way Home, I feel is 2.5 hours of stuff that like you can maybe shorten or cut like 5 minutes of it max. Like I can't really think of anything I really have to like take out or change or move around or whatever. Like
the only stuff you could really kind of take out from that movie are like a little bit like after like when the villains kind of start like helping a little bit, and then kind of like maybe that part a little bit, and then like the like interlog between adjusting to everyone knows my identity. We gotta speed that up a little bit and just go straight to Doctor Strange. But like other than that, no, I mean a lot happens in that movie, so you can't really shorten it.
Yes, whereas a lot does happen in Eternals, but a lot of it seems pointless because that one random deviant just kind of shows up out of nowhere in the climax.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in an hour between when he last showed up and then.
Like, you kind of just forgot. You were like, oh yeah, like
that Icarus is the villain now. Oh wait, there was this other villain that was set up earlier who was more or less set up as Icarus's villain, but I guess now he's seen as villain. And then even though multiple people together weren't able to beat him before, now Theon can just 1v1 him and win.
Right.
Okay.
Like when it's like how is this like it doesn't really make sense because like
I don't know.
I don't know.
There are still some things that did really impress me about the show, about the movie. Like I didn't really dislike any individual character, or at least not like significantly enough to remember if I did. Makari's speed powers were done so well. Like that alone almost wants me to rank it above Falcon Winter Soldier, but I'm sticking to my guns right now. But yeah, just overall, I don't dislike it. I think I said in our review, if this movie were about characters I actually cared about, I probably would think a lot more about it and hate it a lot more. But because these are all brand new characters and I don't know how they're supposed to be, and I can't really get invested in that way that I can a BVS or Justice League or whatever. Like,
you can't be as critical because it's like I don't know as much about these characters basically. But it's like if the characters are done well, like I don't know that much about Shang-Chi, but I like his character a lot more because he had time to develop it and make it likable and like stuff. But
Yep. So yeah, it didn't need to be 2.5 hours. There was a lot of stuff that was either confusing or unnecessary, or stuff that clearly felt like there was at least two different scripts going at the same time. So for that, I gotta put it at the bottom. Closely followed by Falcon and Winter Soldier for kind of some of the same problems.
It's like, for me, it's different problems, but kind of the same reason. Because, like, again, Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of did the thing where you have a lot of, like, this, it's episodes, but you have a lot of episodes and kind of don't really tell a lot of story, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier can basically be summed up as new Captain America sucks. We replace him. That's it. Like, that's pretty
Power
much.
Broker is also there.
Yeah, but like, again, the Power Broker and like, and you don't give it, like, the reveal is like, could have been way cooler if it had been built up more, but like, whatever. And then also there's this entire villain subplot that no one cares about because it's not really done well. And
the show doesn't care. The show doesn't care enough to tell you what they want half the time.
That's what I'm saying. They don't even know, which I don't know. Because, like, I mean, they even brought up in the show, like, you don't even know what we're doing. You know what I mean? And, like, I understand the whole, like, you know, not every organization is that thought out, but it's kind of like, it kind of makes it hard to believe you're really the villain. So it kind of made the villain was kind of more just society accepting by the end of the movie. But even then, that was kind of like ambiguous. It was like, wait, what?
And I feel like
that guy.
I feel like killing Carly, killing her at the end ruined any themes or any like message the show could have had. It's like Falcon went on, or I guess Captain America, whatever. Sam went on this big speech about like how we need to set up our differences. Like we need to like, have a conversation with each other. We need to understand each other better. Yet you were just okay with Sharon murdering her. You're like, you didn't. You saw her, or like that she shot Carly to kill her, and you're just like, no, she's not actually a villain. She's like, we need to remember Carly. But like the show didn't need to kill her. It easily could have left her alive. She would have been a great asset for the Thunderbolts, I think, but whatever.
And also how she kind of, after all she could do during the show, and then she kind of just gets shot. And I'm kind of just like, huh? Like,
okay.
But, guess what I mean? Like, again, I know she's not like Superman invulnerable, but like I expected her to get up from that very easily. Like I was kind of like, wait, really?
Captain America has been shot.
Yeah.
Who knows how many times?
And I know it was like, it wasn't like it was a fatal shot for a normal person, but it did not look like something someone with a super serum couldn't at least like, walk off.
Cap got shot in the gut by a laser in the first Avengers, and he was fine.
He was fine.
Yet she gets shot in the gut by a bullet. No. It's too much. Like, oh, okay. And like even though I really liked Zemo in this show, his episodes could have been cut and nothing really would have changed. Unfortunately, it's just kind of like this show has a lot of really cool ideas. The idea of this power broker kind of like, taking advantage of this power vacuum after, during the 5 years of people not being around to really stop her, and that person being Sharon is a really cool concept. This new Captain America and Bucky, talking with Zemo again is a really cool concept.
Yeah, Zemo was good.
The Flag Smashers theoretically could have been a very cool concept.
Yeah.
John Walker is obviously a very cool concept. Pick two. You get two of those. So we got like 4, kind of 5 villains. Instead, we just needed 2 max.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, again, there's a lot of time going into these movies, but they don't really decide what they want to do. They're like, okay, this episode's really going to focus on this, and then we're going to totally forget about this in the next like 3 episodes. And then, remember, it's like, I understand there's a lot going on, but you have to be more balanced than that. That's just kind of forgetting. It's like different. It felt like different people were writing like the episodes. You know what I mean? Like it felt very like out of nowhere when certain things were randomly focused on all of a sudden. But
yeah. But like I did really like the action sequences. I did like all the characters.
Oh yes.
John Walker, I thought was a very like likable person to hate. Like I felt okay hating him. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was weird because like you have people on, real people are like, oh, you're ruining Captain America. I'm like, that's the point. He's supposed to suck. Like that is like not a bad actor, but like be not what like that's the entire point of the entire thing. And I'm like, how are y'all? But yeah, and I think he does a very good job of kind of being that like sort of like kind of a douche. Like you know what I mean? Like he does it well, especially in the beginning.
But kind of on that, I feel like the show decided last minute, like literally as the show was like being like the show wrapped filming, and then they decided last minute they had like 2 hours left on set to do so, and they're like, wait, I have an idea, let's redeem John Walker. It's like, what? We don't have time for that. The script doesn't account for that. No, it'll be great. Like,
spoiler, it was not great.
he maniacally, like, well, it's not maniacally this word. Like he went kind of crazy and like built his own shield to like try to beat Captain America, and he didn't fail really. Like he didn't where like he had this random change of heart out of nowhere when like that change of heart was either go after Carly or catch this bus or van or this truck that's about to fall and hit people. He goes to get the truck, but the truck falls anyway. So then Falcon catches it. So like, not only did that character choice not make sense for him at all, because his goal going into that fight was to track down Carly, his change of heart didn't matter to the plot because Falcon just saved the day anyway. So
yeah.
And then Bucky is just okay hanging out with Walker for the rest of the climax. It just didn't. No, I don't believe
it didn't work. Especially how much they butted head the whole time. It was like, there's no way we're just cool now.
No.
But, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of, this climax just kind of ended with everyone being cool with everybody, even though none of you like each other or should like each other. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I am still excited for Captain America 4, Sam getting his own Captain America movie. But I think, and I'm sure the pandemic had a big influence in how the show is structured. I get that, but it could have been better.
Yes, could have been a lot better, but again, I
think next is Hawkeye.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already discussed discussed it at length. I feel it was mediocre until it got pretty good. Which is kind of, like I said, kind of the flip of Falcon Winter Soldier, which I liked until it got not great. So like I feel like there's actually a more significant gap between Hawkeye and Falcon than I thought there would be. Weirdly enough. Because like I said, I was expecting Hawkeye to be like maybe as good as Falcon, but I liked it more.
Yeah. People did not think this show was going to be that good at all. Like everyone I was talking to was expecting like nothing. I was like, guys, come on! Like, am I the only one who likes Jeremy Renner? And they're all just like, it's Hawkeye. I'm like, he's not that. And sure enough, it was kind of looking that way in the first half, but we got there.
Yeah. There is a very large gap between Hawkeye and whatever's next, which I haven't figured out yet. So then what we have to choose from next is either WandaVision, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, What If, or Spider-Man. Trying to decide if I like What If or Black Widow more.
I said Widow because like next
Widow?
because because What If, it's hard with What If because What If isn't like, I mean, it kind of wraps all together at the end, but like the episodes are definitely more on their own. They're standalones until the last second. So like some episodes were a lot more engaging than others. Right. So it's like, like when I think of like the really good ones, like the Doctor Strange episode, or like I really like the Killmonger and like Iron Man episode. I really like the like Marvel Zombies. I really like the T'Challa Star-Lord. Like that was the one that surprised me the most that I enjoyed, because I did not think that was going to be interesting at all. It was actually really cool. So then there's some, like the whole like, what is it? Captain Carter was okay, but not as interesting because it kind of felt like the same movie, just different. But like again, What If kind of had some peak moments, and then of course super like whatever Ultimate Vision or whatever it is, I forgot the name of it, but that was really intense, and how he actually goes and fights the Watcher legitimate, like that got really cool. So that bumps it over Black Widow for me, because I feel like Black Widow was really disappointing, just in terms of like, not really like, I mean, not that I was expecting a groundbreaking movie, but I was expecting to leave this movie like, yes, that is Black Widow. That is awesome. And I kind of felt like Black Widow kind of wasn't even my favorite part of her own movie.
Yeah, that's fair. You did sell me on What If being the like above Black Widow, mainly because it ended so strongly. Like, even if you didn't love any individual episode going into it, those last two sell the entire concept like crazy. Because like the idea of what if Ultron went as bad as feasibly possible is terrifying. And
he broke the universe. He broke the multiverse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty bad. Like, we didn't think we could get that bad. He just casually gets the Infinity Stones and goes crazy. So like, and it's stuff like that. And it kind of, because I know a lot of people were complaining, oh, these stories are cool, but they don't mean anything. They don't work together. And wouldn't you know it, not only do they come together, but now we're seeing potentially, oh, wait a minute, is that Doctor Strange from What If? In the new Doctor Strange trailer?
It might be.
No, I did. I remember one of my friends was like, wait, is that evil Doctor Strange? I'm like, you didn't do the homework. You missed the scene. You didn't do the homework. You weren't ready. You thought it was just animated. Look now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is huge. Like, nothing they do is a waste. And I feel like that What If really solidifies that, because this easily could have been just its own thing. Don't worry about it. It's just story ideas just thrown together. No, this is actually well thought out. They put it together. They made character matchups and what didn't sound like they would work, and it was great. And again, I think the biggest thing that sold this thing was the voice acting. Granted, not all the performances were great, but the fact that they got, for the majority, either the actual voices or voices good enough that you didn't really notice, or it wasn't that bother you that much, really sold it, I think.
Yes. Iron Man's was a little distracting. Other than that, all of them were spot on.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I did really enjoy Black Widow quite a bit. I've definitely come around on actually liking what they did with Taskmaster. I feel like literally if it was just called something, like if he was just called, if the Taskmaster was called something else, I think it would have been like, I think everyone would like the movie a lot more, but because people care so much about Taskmaster as the character, and like, I'm still on the record saying that they could Iron Man 3 it, where like in the future someone else actually becomes like the real Taskmaster Prime or whatever. But I don't think it necessarily wasted the character. I think for a Black Widow movie, that kind of character with that backstory makes a lot of sense. Yeah, not to mention just the whole family dynamic I thought was very strong.
Yes.
The villain I thought was overall pretty compelling. And the action set pieces, like actually in a theater, like I can't imagine watching this on Disney Plus and liking it, but because I actually did watch it in a theater and like those environments and the action actually did pop, I think that like really sold it. I suppose if you're just watching it like on a moderately sized TV, I don't think it would have had nearly the same impact.
Right, just needed that, especially for those the first thing that comes to mind is like the free falling scene at the end. Definitely, I think was made a lot better in theaters than just on your TV or something.
Yes, because every trailer I've seen, I saw for it was that free falling scene was like one of the major action beats of those trailers, and they didn't look fantastic just on YouTube. So, but yeah, I like Black Widow. I feel it was a pretty good, at least good enough send off for this character. And like it left the door open for the other characters to get to either show up in stuff like Hawkeye or have their own shows or show up on other stuff later. But yeah, I think What If overall not only proved that this concept is a good idea, also it proved that Marvel can make good animated stuff.
And
What If getting a season 2, Marvel Zombies is happening its own thing.
Right.
So
yeah. And again, it's not meaningless just animated stuff. It's legitimate stuff, which is really big too. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons people were like, I don't really want to like it. Like now, I bet What If season 2 is going to be way better in terms of like how people respond to it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So what, top 4?
WandaVision, Loki, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man.
Decisions.
Because I like Loki a lot. Shang-Chi is also very good. For a character I didn't know anything about.
Right.
And now really liking him. Really liking that world, really liking his just his whole deal. Like I already knew I would like Loki. I already knew that show was going to be very good. And it did not disappoint. Shang-Chi, I from the trailers had no doubt it would be good, but I didn't really know how good. I didn't know how much I would actually like the characters, etc. It wasn't a sure bet. Whereas Loki was. And considering I like them about the same, I think I'm gonna put Shang-Chi above it. That makes sense.
Ooh. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So it's
they're
Loki then
very
Shang-Chi?
close. I think for me it's Loki then Shang-Chi.
Okay. Respect.
Do you have any objections to that?
Okay. So no, mine goes What If, and then Shang-Chi, then Loki.
Okay.
So, close, but not exactly the same.
Yeah. Again, they're very, very close. Like, yeah, I think in any other given year, Shang-Chi would have done a lot better at the box office. Yeah. But considering this character from nowhere did over 400 million in a pandemic year, like people had overall very strong reception to this character, to the movie as a whole. Like we got dragons now. That's always a win.
Just because, no, and I think this movie, especially now the first one laid a solid groundwork. I feel like the next one is, assuming COVID kind of, evens out by the time Shang-Chi 2 comes out, whenever it does, I feel like the next one's definitely going to be $1 billion.
Yes.
It's like a very likable main character. I mean, I think think so, because again, you have a very likable main character. You have supporting characters that are actually like solid. Like you feel like the characters that should be annoying, but they're not. The villain, granted, isn't perfect, but is better than you think it is. And it actually kind of is a little interesting how it's like they're directly connected. He doesn't see it. You know what I mean? It's not just I'm a bad guy or I'm you but evil. It's like I'm your dad.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and and there's a lot going on. And again, I think the sister's character is honestly the best written character in the whole thing. And I'm really excited, which hopefully in the next movie, either she's the villain or very, very heavily involved, because I really like their dynamic, because they kind of have almost kind of like a Zuko Azula kind of vibe almost, with like, you father loved you and I was just thrown away, kind of the opposite. And it kind of it works here. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. Yeah, I really like Shang-Chi. And also, yeah, the action was great. Like the bus scene was really good. Yeah, like they're good. And then obviously Wong for no reason, just because.
Literally no reason. He did not need to be in this movie, but he was, and that's okay.
Yep. No one was upset that they added Wong. That's great. Like, yes. Will he do anything? For like 5 seconds, and it will be awesome. And again, and it was funny. It was funny. Like, it was actually funny. The jokes did hit. Like, I have not laughed. Like the karaoke thing. The first time was kind of funny, not that funny. The second time, I was crying.
Yes.
Like, because those, like, I'm that friend. I'm literally that, like, wherever we're hanging out, like, guys, we should go to bed. We've got, like, I remember in college during exam week, it was like, all right, guys, we got to study. We got exams tomorrow. I'm like, yeah. Or that goes kind of in at like 2 a.m. Like, oh yeah, no, I love that. That was amazing. Like, that's you. And I'm like, yeah. But yeah, nice. So again, very well done, very likable characters. The story wasn't hard to follow. It made sense. Granted, I think you could tell some of the story had been changed because certain characters that seemed very prominent kind of didn't. Like that masked warrior, we never really learned anything about them.
Yeah,
they felt like they just kind of died. Which, like, I feel like if they were gonna do all that, they should, like, it very much looked like for example, like if the sister had already have been a character, that character being the sister would have made a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Something like that. But like, yeah, that felt very like random that this faceless character was in it for a long time and then just kind of died, unfortunately. And like, not just like got killed, like spirit got sucked into a squid jellyfish bat thing. So like, that's extra dead. So like,
yeah, like I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that character never was anybody. I feel like the people making the movie just kind of didn't like understand the significance of, like, if someone is wearing a mask, everybody is going to expect something from it. Everybody's going to be like, who is under the mask? Even if it's not like some important character, it can be just some random person that is in one flashback at some point. At some point in the movie, it was referenced somewhere. That mask, the character's mask, is coming off at some point, and we, the audience, get to see who's underneath. I don't think that ever actually crossed the creators' minds, which is fine. But maybe next time, if you're making a movie, don't have a character wear a mask unless it's either significant to them or significant because it's a big reveal.
Especially when no one else in the movie wears a mask.
Yes.
Like, it makes it very much like, okay, this person's obviously important. Oh, JK, not really. Like, so yeah, but no, great movie. I liked it. I liked pretty much everything. The action was good. The score was really good. I was humming that for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a winner.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't disagree that Loki is pretty much just as good as Shang-Chi is. Like, especially for it being, was it the third? Like, WandaVision, fantastic. Falcon Winter Soldier, kind of disappointing. So I went into Loki hoping it would be good, and it was, and it actually had very significant lasting consequences in the future, which is always a win.
Always. It matters. And that's why I like it matters. But yeah, Loki, about Loki though. It's Loki. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston is doing this thing. It's a great character. Owen Wilson, man. I love me some Owen Wilson in this show. Like wow. Like it was a great character. I love the whole TVA kind of like be acting like they know what's going on, but really have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And just like literally the show gives you I love it because the show gives you exposition, and then as it goes on, it completely unravels. So everything they thought they knew and you thought you knew is absolutely not stable at all. So halfway through the show, you're like, is everything a lie? And the show's like, I don't know. So you kind of just have to keep going and figure it out.
I always had the assumption that the timekeepers were dead or not real, or something was up with them.
Right.
But then the show was like, oh yeah, there's these three guys in this random room. They exist. Oh, they actually are real. Interesting. But we still have 2 episodes left. So how is they're actually not real, they're robots. Sure. Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Cool.
And and I like the themes of kind of just thinking for yourself versus no, this is how we've always done it. Kind of batting, but not in a very in your face political way, but in a very cosmic timey-wimey whatever thing. All the variants are very cool. The different Lokis, I think, is really funny. I think it's hilarious that there's an alligator Loki, and then Loki's just you know what? Whatever. The amount of craziness that goes on in this show is so you have to be honest. The show's bonkers. Yeah, and there's a girl Loki for some reason, and she's great. Then they do this thing, and then there's that, and then there's just a lot going on. There's a lot to handle, and it's weird because the show didn't go where I thought it was going to go. Because I thought it was going to be okay, Loki's going to go to different time periods and make sure bad things happen, but it kind of was more no, we're gonna kind of like WandaVision, kind of we have an ongoing mystery and we're kind of figuring out. In every episode, we get a little closer, but then we find a new clue, a new thread, something goes on. So it's kind of just its own thing.
Yeah, because when you hear the idea of the Loki from the first Avengers movie, that Loki and time travel, that kind of pairs together with Loki just going through time causing mischief. Right. And essentially the antagonists are the people on the good side trying to stop him from doing that.
Right.
That probably would have been a funny and good concept for a show. But considering just how much growth the character of Loki has had over the MCU, I thought it was very smart to have him by the end of episode 1, this Loki is essentially back to how he was at the end of Thor Ragnarok. It makes perfect sense that the last thing he sees in his timeline is Asgard getting decimated, himself dying, and he thinks Thor is also dead, his mother's dead, his dad is dead, everything in his life is just meaningless. So might as well just give up and go along with what's happening. That I think is just very I think that's a way more interesting take for this character. Yeah.
And there were also some funny scenes, like the loop of him keep getting punched and for a million times. We'll just set you in there and let you think about this. That's awful.
Yes.
But no, excellent show, really well done. Although the ending, you're kind of just wait, what happened? And the show's just kind of I don't know. And then it's season 2. Wait, what? What?
Because like, yeah, like that last episode, like the show was good up until that point anyway, but like that last episode just blew me away. Like I was not expecting Kang to show up this early. Obviously we knew he'd show up in Ant-Man 3, but like I wasn't expecting him to show up 2 years before that movie comes out.
Right.
I wasn't expecting Loki to like actually have any rippling ramifications into the greater MCU. I thought it was just gonna kind of be like, yeah, the timekeepers are here now, but like that's pretty much the extent of the MCU like expanded canon. But no, they multiverse.
Yeah. Here we go. And boy, did it happen. Like,
yes.
They didn't have to do it. Like, if we're doing this, they're doing it. But yeah, very well done. And again, and that's a great example of taking a character that's very well liked and like, how can we further use this? And they did. And it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like, oh, come on, let Loki go. It felt like, oh, yay, more Loki. Excuse to have more Loki.
Yes. So yeah, that is definitely the second best Marvel show that happened this year. Like not even close. Because the first, obviously, WandaVision, which I'm so close to putting at number 1. I am so very close. But Spider-Man's too OP.
You can't though.
I feel bad.
If it wasn't
like,
for the
wasn't for what?
If it wasn't for Spider-Man being just like unreal, like yeah, but like WandaVision, I love this show. Like,
yes, it has literally every single thing I like in a show. It has good costume design. It has just a general, like, cool overall general aesthetic, a good idea, a mystery, just nostalgia bait. Like
great characters,
fantastic characters. Yes,
it is, and it's done. It's like, it's smart. It's like very, like, there's a lot of details in this show. It's like the more you know about just like how productions, cinematography, TV shows work, the more the smarter you are with this show, with how certain scenes are shot certain ways when they're not supposed to, because this didn't come out, so this and that and that and wait a minute, that didn't do that because that's supposed to, like. So one of my best friends is like a huge movie guy. Like he like knows all the things, everything, and like he's watching the show and he's just like, "This is so beautiful." Like everything, you know what I mean? Like, because he's like he's getting things I'm not even understanding because I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, look at Vision go!" You know what I mean? And he's over here analyzing, like, "Wow, yeah, these angles," because like, you know, in the 1950s with the Dick Van Dyke Show, they only had the set stages, so they could only have wide shots here, here, and here. But when this scene happens, this tells you that this and that and that. And that this technology wasn't until night, and I'm just like, yeah, wasn't it cool how like he did the thing and the thing just floated? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but again, I love TV. I love old, like in my house, my parents are older, so we've watched Andy Griffin. I love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, like all the classic shows. I've seen like every Malcolm in the Middle episode, or like every, you know, all these 2000 shows, you know, honestly, like, you know what I mean? So it's like when you see these things, you're like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. And then they do like the different things. Like, it was just,
like,
it was a love
so
letter.
one of my favorite shots of the entire show is in episode 1, where, you know, the dinner table is happening and like it's a wide shot. There's like 3 different angles of the entire thing, but that's standard for shows like that. But then once, you know, things started to go bad, the camera started gradually zooming in and like having angles that weren't around back then. And then as soon as it ended, it went back to the wide shot. Just everything just went back to normal. It's like,
and the sound design too, because like it was all cheery and then as soon as something great happened, super eerie, quiet, not a peep, and just like zooming in, quiet, eerie silence. And then, okay, well, that was a great dinner, guys. Like, it was just like, and again, and I think the best part about that too is the self-awareness of the characters, that they're like, what just happened? You know what I mean? Because Vision's like, did y'all just see that? Like, what? Like,
yes.
People don't that. And I'm like, and I think that's so smart how you have a character in a show who kind of realizes, am I in a TV show? You know what I mean? Kind of like, but he has to figure it out because he doesn't understand it. And you have the perspective from outside the TV show too. So you kind of see what's really going on and how this is actually terrifying. And like, you know, and like the scene, and I really like the scenes where like, you know, the people would snap to reality for a second and they're like visibly crying and like, oh my God, please save us, like my children or something. You know what I mean? They're freaking out. It's just kind of like, you know, and they're just back to like, oh, hey neighbor. I'm like, oh my God. And then just, yeah, I know. I just
yes, and I just love the scene from episode 5, I think, where it was 5, where Vision is like, why are there no kids? Why do I not remember walking to work? Like, why? Like, after this is all over, are we just gonna sit down on the couch and just go, just like, you know, reset for the next scene? Like, are we? Like, I'm just like realizing like we're in a show, we're in a time loop. Like, I can't keep doing this. And then, oh well, next episode starts right back up. He's in a show again. Oh, so good.
like, oh man, and all the subtle stuff too, like just like how stuff has changed when it comes into Westview, or how just everything. And Catherine Hahn, dude, oh my gosh, bro.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Absolute, like, what, unbelievable. Like, I can't eat, just amazing. Did again, you knew something was up the whole time. But it got to the point where you were kind of like, maybe not. And then nope, JK, definitely the villain.
Because like for the moment she walks in, you're like, she's a villain, or like there's something, or like she's in on it too, or something.
Well, because then like too important.
Yeah, because then episode 5 was, you know, one of the best episodes of the show. Like, you know, early on, Vision like doesn't, you know, Vision goes off script, and Agatha's like, do you want us to run that again? Do you want us to like, should we do that again? We're like, no. It's like like that's, I don't know if that was just, I guess that was her acting, right? But surely Wanda could detect that she's not actually under her spell, right? But like,
but maybe not, because
was Agatha was Agatha tricking her into thinking she was?
Right.
I don't know.
I think that's what it is, because remember when the reveal happens and then Wanda's like, you're not supposed to say that, and like trying to do it, and then she's like, no. So you never controlled me. She's just kind of playing the part like how Wanda would imagine her to. You know what I mean? I think that's interesting because she's playing a character the whole time, but she's actually doing it. You know what I mean? She's putting herself, because she's like, okay, I need to be close to them, but I can't just show up for no reason. So I have to play this character and keep an eye on it and make sure other characters stay in line. I thought that was really interesting too. But like, I think it's so interesting how like, she does this great job of this like sinister, like slowly creeping and getting closer, and Wanda trusting Wanda more, and Wanda lets her guard down more and more, to the point where she just uses her powers, whatever, in front of her. And then it's like, oh, it's too late. She knows now. It's like, it was so well done. And like, the only thing I didn't love was the kind of the kind of fake Quicksilver thing was a little.
I think that scene, I think bringing in whatever his name is, Evan Peterson, bringing him in actually worked very, very well for the kind of show that we're getting, because like, kind of in a similar vein to the other Spider people showing up in No Way Home, like, yes, it is fan service, but them showing up in No Way Home feed the plot very well. Like, they actually matter for the overarching narrative of the show. They actually drive and like help our Peter along in his story. Whereas in here, it is fan service to the audience because we know he is a Quicksilver, but we also know that he is not the same Quicksilver from the show.
Right.
And it enhances Wanda's longing of, I want my brother back. Like, I was able to bring Vision back, but I can't bring him back. So even though this guy doesn't look anything like, oh no, the guy who plays Pietro in Ultron. It's a Brian Taylor Johnson. I'm close.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Even though he looks nothing like Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Nope.
The drop of a hat, she's like, Pietro, you're back, and just like goes along with it. And then, like, she does kind of start to question it next episode, but he, still, like, whether he's under Agatha's spell or like he's actually, like, I never really was convinced that he actually was from the other like the X-Men universe, but I feel like if anything, like, that could have been anybody, but because it was Evan Peterson, that was more so to trick the audience along with Wanda. And I think that's kind of like, I think if he actually was that same Quicksilver, it maybe even would have like kind of cheapened it a little bit, because it would have kind of not served the plot in the way Agatha would have wanted to. Because, like, how did she get him there? How did that happen? As opposed to just Agatha somehow knows that we know that that's a Quicksilver, so that's how we're going to do this. I just felt like people get so wrapped up in, this is not how I thought this would go, therefore it is bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, that maybe wasn't the most concise, but that's generally why I think it's a good idea.
Fair enough. And then there was one.
Yep. Spider-Man good. Moving on.
You can watch our last podcast if you want to know our thoughts.
Hour 40 minutes of us talking about how good this movie is. Like, literally, Spider-Man No Way Home, I don't trust people that are like, it was a bad movie. Like,
ooh, are these
calm down.
Like, bro,
calm down.
How?
Like, I could forgive people saying it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie. It obviously, Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie, but like, people who are like, it's not a good movie or it's not a good Spider-Man movie, like, I'd argue it's not a movie. It's just a cultural phenomenon experience that you just turn your brain off and appreciate. We're doing this, and that's cool.
Like, that's all. But it's not even like that, because like a lot of movies where you have to just be like, all right, none of this makes sense, but just go with it. I understand, but like, this isn't even one of those movies. This movie makes sense for the most part. Granted, there's some far-fetched stuff, but it's a Marvel movie. It's all kind of a little far-fetched, but like, as far as typical Marvel movies go, this movie is sound logically. This makes sense. The characters are done well. The motivations make sense. There are smart choices. The fight scenes are great. The characters rock.
Fantastic. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I don't know what there is to complain about.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, you can have nitpicks here and there, but like, even on my most charitable, I can think of like 3 things that are nitpicks. Maybe. I overall, the plot is, I feel, very sound. The nostalgia actually enhances the plot and enhances the story, the character arcs in a way that's not just solely fan servicey. It wraps up this trilogy, but also leaves the door open for future stuff to happen. Like, it's just a very good Spider-Man movie, like very good movie in general, let alone very good Spider-Man movie. So like, grow up if you like, I don't know. That, or like, either get over yourself or just like revert back to your inner child and just enjoy things.
I mean, it's great. I don't know what you can really complain about. Like,
yeah. I think it's still the highest audience reviewed Spider-Man movie. It's like a 98% Rotten Tomatoes.
I was like, it's like a 99, I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah.
Because again, who can really, who is like the 1% who's like, nah, like really? Come on, this movie's amazing.
Like, maybe the fact that it's too long, but we already said it's, I don't know what I would cut.
That's what I'm saying. And also, if it's good, who cares?
Exactly.
Like again, like we said, like maybe a couple minutes here and there, but like this movie had to be at least 2 hours and 15 at least. So like making it 2:30 is not going to kill anybody.
Yep.
But
so yeah. But overall, 2021 was a fantastic year for Marvel stuff. Like, you know, the fact that we did kick off the year with WandaVision, and we ended the year with something that was actually better than WandaVision, and the stuff in between was also like generally at least decent, if not pretty, pretty good. Considering we weren't even sure if anything would happen this year, and 9 things did. Yeah, pretty good year. Pretty good year for Marvel. Cool. So I have a couple more just kind of general topics to discuss for wrapping up. You remember that Blue Beetle movie that was announced last year at some point? Yes. It was originally announced to be an HBO Max exclusive.
Okay.
Now it's apparently going to be releasing in theaters in August 2023.
Okay.
So cool, I guess.
Cool, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm really curious, like, why they decided to move it. I wonder if it's because HBO isn't doing as well as they were hoping it would, and they were like, movies like this wouldn't draw enough people to make it worth it, so it'd be better just to make it like a real movie in quotations. Yeah, I don't know, but that's Blue Beetle is definitely not my first choice to make a movie, since we still don't really have a Superman 2 yet, or Green Lantern, or other pretty core characters I think maybe should have been prioritized over him, but still cool that he's getting something. Yeah.
Do you think they're going with him because it's like a fast track to diversify characters?
I mean, that does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, like, I'm all for diversity, but it's like you don't have to like force it. But I feel like if you force it, it's not really diversity anymore. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah. And as long as the movie is good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yes, like, off the train of thought. It's fine. But yeah, like 2023, August 2023, maybe it'll be good. We might get like a glimpse of something next DC fandom. So cool. Sticking with DC, Michael Keaton is rumored to reprise his role as Batman in the Batgirl show.
Oh. Okay.
Which I'm not sure how, considering J.K. Simmons will be the Jim Gordon of that universe, like of that Batgirl show, and Michael Keaton's Jim Gordon is definitely not J.K. Simmons. So will we get a multiverse situation, or will he just be Batman? Or
I mean, I feel like it's been long enough he can just be Batman, because I mean,
but
I know.
But the point, or will Flashpoint just ruin everything?
Put it together. Flashpoint will just throw it together somehow and make it work, maybe. I don't know. But right now, there's no way of knowing. But I mean, potentially cool. I mean, anytime Michael Keaton's doing Batman stuff, that can just be really cool. So why not?
Absolutely. But like, I don't know, I still just feel like Michael Keaton's Batman was the perfect candidate to do a Batman Beyond something with.
Yes.
And it only really has that punch if he hadn't been Batman for the entirety between 92 and whenever Batman Beyond happens. But if we're getting him in randomly in Flashpoint for no reason, and then also in Batgirl, even though there's at least one other Batman they could have put in there, or not have Batman at all and not bother. Like, you don't need Batman to be in a Batgirl show. Like, she can just be her own thing.
He can have like a cameo, or he can be like, on the radio, on like a communication or something. He doesn't have to be like a prominent character, but
yeah. But now, if we do end up getting a Batman Beyond, I don't know. I just feel like it won't have the impact that it should. But it still would be really cool for that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wouldn't be the same.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, Michael Keaton being Batman in any context is still very cool. So I'm cautiously optimistic about the Batgirl show as a whole. I think the actors are getting for it are very good. Firefly is a villain that I think he probably won't be like the main villain, at least be in it. Is one that doesn't really get much recognition in general. So he played by Brendan Fraser. That's very good.
Fraser's awesome.
So yeah, I think it's coming out 23 also, I think. So
I think so.
Yeah. Last bit of news that I have is that unfortunately John Wick 4 has been delayed until March 24th, 23.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
which is hilarious because originally Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 were going to come out on the same day. They're going to come out in like May of 21. Obviously, Matrix got delayed 6 months, and John Wick got pushed to next May. Then got pushed almost a year to March 23. So, that's a little upsetting.
Yeah, I mean that would have been cool. Imagine how that would have been. Two of the biggest movies coming out at the same time, both Keanu movies, and you're just like, yeah, this is how Disney feels all the time, except it's not just Disney; it's a person. Yeah, which I also find it hilarious that I haven't seen Matrix Resurrections, but I have a feeling the main reason why Neo looks like that in that movie is because Keanu Reeves didn't want to shave his hair because he was still doing John Wick. Right.
I'm sure they made it work, but that's not what Neo looks like.
No, I mean it's true, but at the same time, I mean they're going for the it's been a long time, so they can play off he's different. Yeah,
but I don't know. I just feel like silhouettes and still frames are very important for long franchises like that, where even if you didn't know who the actors were, if you didn't know the premise of the thing, if you just saw a picture of short-haired Keanu Reeves with the glasses and the black trench coat, that's Matrix.
Yeah, it's true.
And with the hair, I'm still since it is the same actor, it's not a huge deal. I just find it funny that John Wick got delayed that far when that's probably the primary reason why he doesn't have the short hair.
I mean,
yeah. And part of this also could be the fact that I believe John Wick 4 and 5 are being filmed at the same time. So they probably just
knock it all out.
Because production issues, because of COVID, just had to push things back. They had to kind of shift everything. So they had to shift 2 productions at the same time. They just had to delay everything, which is whatever. Yeah. But whatever it takes. John Wick 4 is going to be very good. I like every single John Wick movie so far. And the end. Have you seen John Wick 3?
I don't think I've seen the third one. No. Like
Okay.
I've seen the first one and like most of the second one.
But... Okay, I recommend all 3 of them. They're all very good.
Oh yeah.
And like the end of the third one is like gearing up to like the next like chapter in his life is going to be very interesting. So yeah, I believe that's everything I have on the docket. I think everything. Anything else you wanted to discuss or bring up before we sign off?
Just Boba Fett came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily much to talk about yet.
No.
It was just the first episode of 7.
Right. So. We'll get there. We're just making the fan base aware. For anyone who hasn't seen it, go ahead. And yeah, that's essentially it. Good year. But next year.
Yes.
Next year's looking good too.
Our next video will probably be our 10 most anticipated things of 22.
Some good stuff coming out next year.
Yeah, like it's probably gonna be a thing where like off the top of my head I can think of 10 things. Then I'm gonna actually like look at things that are happening. It's like, oh, that like there's so many things.
No, that was me. I was like, okay, yeah, that. And I was like, oh, that's right. And then I have to go and wait, no, but this is gonna be good. Oh, this is gonna get delayed again. Who am I kidding? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But yeah,
I'm not sure. I was tempted not to put Black Widow on there because it's afraid it would get delayed.
I mean, for a while there, it wasn't looking like it, but they finally decided. I'm kind of surprised. I really didn't think they were gonna squeeze Spider-Man in. I really thought Spider-Man was gonna be a next year thing.
I'm glad they did.
I'm so happy. But yeah, I thought it was going to be.
Sure, Sony is too.
Yep. All that money they're making, they better be. Yeah. See what happens when you share. Good things happen when you share.
Yeah. Sony, don't get cocky. Don't do a thing where now that Spider-Man 3 is making so much money, you think now is the time you can take him and do your own thing, or don't try to like bring Andrew Garfield in as his own like new Spider-Man movies or whatever, and then be like, okay, that's the only Spider-Man now. You can't have MCU Spider-Man anymore. Because I have a feeling Sony could and would do that if Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was even like marginally profitable. Because you know how spiteful they are.
They are. Why can't we just all enjoy this mutual success? But no.
Yeah. Well, we're enjoying the success.
Yep.
so let's keep it that way. So yeah, I'm curious down below. Let us all know what what you thought of this year. What was your favorite movie, video game, show, thing was from this year? Are you excited for next year? Do you still think it's gonna be bad like the past 2 years? Hopefully not, but things will only get better, right?
Yeah. Probably, maybe.
So yeah, we'll see you all next year. Bye.
Bye.